The game begins suddenly, leaving us in this dark room with more questions than answers, such as, where am I? Who am I? Why am I in this bathtub full of ice? And where are my kidneys? A pair of eyes greets us from the darkness, telling us that we're going to be playing a game of Monopoly, and if we lose, he'll take a picture of us with his flashbang camera and erase us from this mortal plane. So unless we want to turn into my great-grandpa, we should start drawing some cards. Inscryption is a game where the main premise is you're trapped in this guy's cabin/sex dungeon in which he forces you to play a board game where the odds are more stacked against you than Mike Tyson fighting a paraplegic. This game is essentially what happens if you drink an entire bottle of Benadryl and then go to sleep immediately after. So how does the game work? It works by playing your most basic card, the squirrel, from a predetermined deck that was given to you by the strange man with a fetish for masks and roleplay. More on that later. The squirrel does nothing except be a sacrifice for our first card, the stoat, who for some reason can talk to us. After that it's simple. The more blood a card has attached to it, the more sacrifices it needs to be played. And the more damage you do to the man, the more gold teeth will fall onto the scale. Tipping the scale on his side means you win, and vice versa. And I don't know how many teeth I have, because I've pulled out so many through emergency surgery so many times I think I'm starting to look like a meth addict. As you progress further into the game, you'll start to notice some strange things happening, such as the cards that can talk warning you about the game that you're playing. Eventually, the gangly looking sex offender who trapped you in here tells you that you're allowed to stand up and look around the room, in which you can find puzzles and other things that will come in handy. As we continue down the path of the board, we encounter several new characters, all of who are played by the same insane man who trapped us here, offering us new cards, sacrificial rituals, and upgrade stations, all of which usually have some sort of drawback. Eventually you figure out ways to solve the puzzles, which unlock things in the room such as new cards and this knife which can do this. After turning myself into Blackbeard, I can now collect a disability check from the government and take up 3 of the disabled parking spots at Walmart. I'm then offered a new eye by the man, and upon choosing the futuristic looking one, we are able to see the secrets of the room. There are several clues hidden inside the cabin, including the solution to the clock puzzle, which I definitely didn't have to look up to solve because I have the cognitive functions of an ape. We meet a jar of Monster Energy, who seems to be in a state of constant pain and suffering, who tells us that by finding him we have freed his master. If you question him further about it, he says this. Now that we've heard the green jar recite the entire New Testament in 5 seconds, we head back to the table only to hear the man say, "Bet you won't stab your eye out again." We progress our way through the multiple boards set before us, beating several bosses along the way, including a miner, a fisherman, and 2 of the people who originally sold us items. Side note, a little detail I thought was cool is for how the second phase of that boss, the guy flips the mask upside down and changes it to the other person. After beating them, we finally reach our destination, which is a mini version of the cabin we've already been in. Upon entering, we sit down at the card table we are now very familiar with, and the man turns the lights on. The battle is tough, and this cheating bastard gives himself 3 lives as if it wasn't already unfair, but eventually, we prevail, and the man is defeated. As he goes to take the picture of us to try and kill us, we snatch the camera and put in the film, snapping a photo of him, killing him. Now alone, we take a look around the room to see the corpses of our past lives lying on the floor, and in front of us is a card that when clicked sends us to a black screen, finally ending our journey. But not really. You see, that was only one part of the game, because I didn't realize up until about a week ago that there was a lot more to this game than I originally thought. And I'm most likely not going to be able to complete the game in time for the video, so I wouldn't consider this a review because it wouldn't be fair to review it without completing the game fully. But what I will do is talk about the things I like and dislike about it. This game has a lot of good things going for it, the first I'm going to talk about being the atmosphere. The atmosphere provokes this sense of mystery and confusion that essentially has little clues to help you figure it out, leaving it up to you to sort this jumbled mess out. The game leaves you asking more questions than it answers, with strange imagery appearing and a general sense of confusion that I initially felt when playing this game. Second is the sound design. The sounds in this game are ominous and dark, from the soundtrack to all the noises around the cabin. You hear the sounds of paper folding and wood creaking, all these mechanical noises that make the game seem so much more creepy. And the music is very good too, the boss themes being the ones I paid the most attention to. All of the themes have something different going for them, the miner's theme having the distinct clang of a pickaxe, the angler's theme having fishing lures being reeled in constantly, and the trapper and trader having this droning choir hum throughout the battle, all representing just how interesting these fights are. The only thing critical I have to say about this game is the RNG. Since it's a roguelike, a lot of the enemy decks you fight and the paths generated in this game are random, meaning it can either be a cakewalk or it can be a horrible experience where every enemy in the game uses your cards like a chew toy. The same goes for your cards. You can get incredibly game-breaking cards, or you can get a bunch of garbage that gets you killed half the time. The game also has this fun mechanic where bosses can play multiple broken cards at once that can railroad you into taking 15 damage in a single turn. But other than that, the game is pretty good so far, and I'd recommend you play it. If you want me to review the second and third acts of this game, tell me in the comments below. Anyway, make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you later.